What's good, Joe? Welcome back. Welcome back. Monday. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. The full story of life racing engines. Now, for some reason, I was just in like a negative mood. I just want to see like bad. I just want to see like bad for some reason. I don't know why. On like a Monday, I just woke up just negative. But I'm like, listen, I want to hear about like some bad experiences in F1. So I looked up Life Racing Engine. For some reason, I remember seeing it one day. I didn't really know too much about it, so I'm like, let me go and check it out. Now, apparently, these guys were shit. Like they were potentially very very shit. So we are finished to see how shit they were. All you guys are doing good and amazing as always. Don't forget to like the video, sub as well to the channel. That's it. That's quick intro. Quick intro. Also, if you guys have not seen my post race reaction from yesterday, suggest you guys check that out. Pretty cool, pretty quick. Didn't want to keep you guys for too long. Shout out to Peter Brook with the video. All credit goes to him. Big time. Let's get it.
If there's one thing that characterises Formula One in the 1980s more than anything else, it's turbos. The decade saw a significant increase in the speed of Formula One cars, first with ground effect and then with turbocharged engines that would often destroy themselves after only a few laps.
Bila.
In 1989, turbos were banned, and with this return to naturally aspirated power came a variety of different engine designs and configurations. One of these designs looked more at home in a World War II bomber than a Formula One car, and gave rise to arguably the slowest team in Formula One history. This is the story of Life Racing Engines.
Life Racing Engines.
Franco Rocci had an impressive CV to his name as a long-standing engineer for Ferrari, specialising in their world-renowned engines. In 1980 he was let go, and he dedicated his time to working on his own designs, one of which was an innovative W12 engine.
I mean, he wasn't doing anything else. He wasn't doing anything else, so you might as well. But just looking at this engine, there's just so many just different parts and aspects and just bits and pieces of it that make up an F1 engine. I couldn't do it. You know how much studying and just like making sure everything is where it needs to be at. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I tell you.
In 1989, turbocharged engines were banned in Formula One, and 3.5 litre naturally aspirated engines were mandated, but no particular configurations were specified, which led to a large number of engine manufacturers entering the sport, all with their own unique designs. Italian businessman Ernesto Vita heard about Rocci's unique design and decided it would be a worthwhile investment to buy the rights to it and try to pitch it to different Formula One teams. None of the teams on the 1989 grid were interested, so he instead decided to create an entirely new team himself. Vita named the team Life, the English translation of his surname, and with his reasonable wealth he set up technical offices in Reggio Emilia and a factory in Formigine near Modena and recruited a small number of staff. He did not have the means, the skill, nor the time to design a car from scratch, so sought to buy one instead. First Racing were a Formula 3000 team who had tried and failed to enter Formula One in 1989 with a car built by former Fittipaldi designer Richard Davila. After Davila left the team, former Ferrari engineer Gianni Morelli was brought in to oversee and improve the car's design. After giving up on Formula One, Vita purchased their unraced F189 car, replacing the Judd V8 engine with their W12, and renamed it the Life L190. The engine had the cylinders arranged in 3 groups of 4. This meant that it was the same height as a conventional V8 but much wider. Tests revealed it develops an underwhelming 480 horsepower, compared with the 600 to 700 horsepower of the V8s and V10s being used by the other team.
So I would suggest that they would have to like, because I would assume like weight was still like, your car would have to meet like a certain weight. I would still assume no back then. But you can see how like, you know, he really wanted this to work. Like you said, like, you know, like he didn't have like the means and whatever to like get one from scratch. And like his staff wasn't that big anyway. So like, even if he wanted to like build one from scratch, he still didn't have like the staff or whatever to like really help him out with that. But the engine looks big as hell, bro. Holy crap. That's a big ass engine. I mean, hey, I mean, we gonna see. We're going to see. But I do like the effort him, you know, acquiring the car, trying to get right. I ain't mad at it. I'm not mad at it. We gotta see what
Vita
happens.
then needed to find drivers, and managed to recruit Gary Brabham as lead driver and Franco Scopini as test driver. Gary Brabham was the son of 3-time champion Sir Jack Brabham, and had recently been crowned British Formula 3000 champion. Franco Scarpini had been a prolific but largely unsuccessful driver in various Formula 3 categories throughout the 1980s. The car was ready by February 1990,
That's not good.
which gave the team time to test it at both Vallelunga and Monza, where they quickly realised the car was massively underpowered, massively overweight, and had an incredibly high centre of gravity as it had required extensive modifications just to get the W12 to fit onto the engine cover, which made it very unstable. The team travelled to the season-opening United States Grand Prix in Phoenix, Arizona with one car, one engine, and virtually no spare parts. As one of 35 entries to a 26-car grid, they would be forced to go through pre-qualifying. The inadequacies of the car became plain and clear to see. Of the 9 pre-qualifying cars, Brabham went 8th fastest, only beating the Colonia of Bertrand Gachot, who broke a gear selector rod and set an official time of 5 minutes 15 seconds. The Eurobrunn of Roberto Moreno went fastest with a time 3.6 seconds off Gerhard Berger's pole lap. Brabham completed only 4 laps and was a whole 35 seconds slower, setting a time that could have been beaten by a Formula 3000 car. Brabham tried to convince Vita to switch back to the car's original Judd V8, but he could not be swayed. The team then travelled south for the Brazilian Grand Prix, and hoped that with increased mileage and testing the car's pace would improve. There was no opportunity to test this, as the car's engine seized up and broke a connecting rod after only 400 metres on track, as the mechanics had gone on strike and not put a single drop of oil in the car.
Okay, well, it seemed like everybody's just, it's just the house is falling apart. That's what it seems like. The house is just falling apart. People on strike, they ain't trying to do the job. The car sucks, the engine sucks. You have a driver who feels like the other engine will be better, but of course, when you have like your own engine, you want to like stick with your engine that you have, stuff like that. It kind of like really hard headed in terms of like not wanting to like switch off from that. So I get that part, but still though, man, it don't look good. It does not look good at all. At all.
Deciding he no longer wanted to go along with this, Brabham left the team. Damn. Designer Gianni Morelli had also had enough and left as well.
Jeez.
Vita looked at getting test driver Scarpini to replace Brabham, but he was not granted a FISA Super license, and Vita wanted someone with more experience. Former Zach Speed and footwork driver Bernd Schneider was approached, but declined. Barber Pro Series driver Rob Wilson was also approached, and was interested if the team expanded to 2 cars. The seat eventually went to Italian Bruno Giacomelli. Giacomelli was 37 years old, had not raced in Formula 1 since 1983, and since then had raced part-time in the World Endurance Championship.
That team just looks weak.
He got his first taste of the car in pre-qualifying for the San Marino Grand Prix.
Weak.
He went 7th fastest, but only because neither AGS car set a time, and a drive belt failed on his hot lap, and he returned to the pits with an official time of 7 minutes 16 seconds.
That's worse.
At Monaco, Giacomelli managed to get a proper run in the car and get a better feel for it. He managed 7 laps in pre-qualifying and was only 2 seconds off the Colonia of Bertrand Gachot, but was 14 seconds off the fastest pre-qualifying time and 20 seconds off Ayrton Senna's pole lap. He went out for a second run but completed only 1 lap before the engine failed. Giacomelli managed another 7 laps in pre-qualifying at the Canadian Grand Prix before the engine failed, and was 3 seconds off the Eurobrunn of Claudio Langers, 22 seconds off his teammate Roberto Moreno in first, and 30 seconds off Ayrton Senna's pole lap. By now, the team were in discussions with Brabham and Lotus, hoping to get a Judd V8 engine from them. At the Mexican Grand Prix, the engine broke down on Giacomelli's outlap and he set a time of 4 minutes 7 seconds, and at the French Grand Prix, the engine broke down on his outlap again and he didn't set a time at all.
It's just no improvement.
Giacomelli lasted 5 laps at the British Grand Prix before the engine died and was 14 seconds away from advancing into qualifying. Pace deteriorated even further at the German Grand Prix, as Giacomelli was 25 seconds off the fastest pre-qualifying time and was 40 miles per hour slower through the speed trap than the rest of the grid, with Giacomelli expressing fears of being rear-ended by another car. Another 5 laps were managed at the Hungarian Grand Prix before the engine died, and Giacomelli was 20 seconds off the fastest pre-qualifying time. At the Belgian Grand Prix, the team spent most of pre-qualifying trying to get the car started. Giacomelli eventually got out and did 5 laps before suffering an electrical failure and was 21 seconds off the fastest pre-qualifying time.
This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is worse than Mata, Rich Energy, all the other shitty teams, which like that. This is the worst team I've ever seen. This is awful. this is awful. You know, we don't like. What am I looking at? It's just 20 seconds off, 25 seconds off. Failed this, failed that. Broken down this, broken down that. Can somebody step in and help these guys out? Step in, somebody, please.
At the Italian Grand Prix, the team of
Help a
Giacomelli's
brother
home
out.
race, Giacomelli got only 2 laps in before the engine died and was 28 seconds off the fastest pre-qualifying time.
God.
For the Portuguese Grand Prix, the team abandoned their W12 engine and had managed to get hold of a Judd V8, spending 10 days modifying the car to accommodate it and shaving off 80 kilograms of weight in the process. Despite this, they had failed to change the engine cover, and it promptly flew off on Giacomelli's outlap, preventing him from setting a time. At the Spanish Grand Prix, there was little opportunity to test the new engine out, as Giacomelli managed only 2 laps before it broke down and set a time 20 seconds off the fastest pre-qualifying
He's going through it. I feel bad for bro.
After this, the team had decided enough was enough, withdrew from the final 2 events,
Thank
and shut up
God.
shop.
Thank God.
Life racing engines have become notorious as one of the most ill-thought-out excursions into Formula 1. The car fits within the technical regulations, but even if it had been raced in Formula 3 it would have struggled to be competitive, as the unique engine barely worked at the best of times, and the car itself produced little to no downforce and was very poorly constructed. Despite the lack of track time, it's become remembered and appreciated as one of the curiosities of Formula 1,
Yeah.
as after 19 years of gathering dust, the car was fully restored with the original W12 engine and had the honour of being driven by Arturo Merzario at the 2009 Goodwood Festival of Speed. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching.
And like, shout out Peterbrook. I feel bad for like Giacomello, like for G whatever, because like he's having to drive this car, and he's like mentally, I know he's just going through it. But like you said, it was a chance that they took. It just didn't work, unfortunately. So maybe I was being tad bit harsh. Yeah, I'll probably be a tad bit harsh, but it was just killing me, man. Just how many just like, but they kept trying until like at some point they just knew like we need to just close shop. But they kept trying to modify it, trying to go through it, but it didn't work. It just did not work. Well, hope you guys did enjoy the video. Don't forget to like and sub as well. Take care, stay amazing, boys and girls.